I like the sausage. Do you like the sausage too?
Hello, boys, bears, and fellow neutrals. We are back for season 2. What a quick summer break that was. I'm your host and mediator, Stephen. You'll be delighted to hear that our resident boy and bear didn't take too much convincing to join me for season 2. First of all, our wee teddy bear, Scotty. How we doing, mate?
Alright, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks for asking. I'm all good. And last but not least, our modest boy, Paddy Boy. You all good, mate?
Modest, thanks. Yeah, I'm good. Lovely to see you both again. Excited for another season.
It's great to be back.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Now, for our regular listeners, you'll know what the script is. The whole purpose of our podcast is to prove that you can have mates on either side of the Clyde, talk about football, and still have a pint together after the games. To continue on this positive note, which I can assure you doesn't usually last that long, we start our podcast with a compliment from each side. So, Paddy Boy, I'm going to come to you first, please, mate.
I'm gonna compliment Rangers Football Club on finding a temporary home so quickly. It's always a nightmare when you realise you can't play in your own stadium, and I think you need Phillips cement. So, yeah, congrats on finding Hampden to play, and that's been such a great stadium for you over the years.
Thanks, mate. Did you spend all pre-season coming up with that one? Aye.
Yeah, I see. You've been thinking about that a lot.
Yeah. Oh, see,
I was gonna. Do you know what I was gonna say? We have to take the compliments seriously, but there's genuinely no point because you'll find some way around it, and then one thing leads to another. Someone will muck it up. So yeah,
I did have a real compliment written down,
which is,
I think the signing of Czerny looks quite tasty. But you're also linked with a Bosnian striker called Lukas Bestos, who seems really tasty as well.
Yeah, I bet it's really, really healthy for you to get a nice dose of that one. I'm not falling for that today. You can't catch me out.
Well, I'll tell you what, Scotty, you get 2 compliments, mate. So why?
Oh,
then?
Thanks. Well, I took the pre-season indication of trying to be fair and honest when it comes to compliments, and trying to be better.
A moral victory.
Than my fellow. I don't know. Would you call him friend? I don't know. What are you to me?
It's your decision, really, who your friends are, mate.
Depends on how the season goes.
Not even 3 minutes into the new season, you've already said, "What are you to me?" Wow.
But my compliment, I'm fairly impressed, obviously, with Celtic's ability to score a lot of goals so far. It looks like you're free scoring, being able to create a lot of chances, which must feel good as a fan because I've not seen that from my team so far. But obviously, it's early days. But yeah, that would be my compliment to Celtic.
I did have fun updating you on the Celtic-Chelsea score when we were together on Saturday night.
Yeah, I was trying to down as many pints as to drown it out, but unfortunately, I think Celtic was just a wee bit too quick for me.
Yeah, you did go home early though, so
I went home crying.
Well, now that the tone's set for the rest of the season, thanks for doing that so early, boys. What we're going to do is move on to our first new segment. Now, this is called Two Soonest and a Sibo, and Two Decanios and a Do... Who, Pat?
Two Decanios and a Do Way.
And a Do Way, thank you. Where we discuss 2 good things and 1 bad thing since our previous episode. Now, that obviously covers the whole of the pre-season, so I'd imagine most of them will be around that. These don't necessarily have to be players, boys. So, Scotty, I'm going to come to you for your 2 soonest first, please.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I think the profile of our signings so far with a lot of young signings that seem to have avoided injury so far, which is a good sign. Right age, right profile. I think you can turn these lads around into good players, give them an avenue and a platform, which hopefully means that we can then kickstart this player trading model we keep getting told about. I think that represents a good move for us. The second one, won't be surprised, getting some of the diddies off the wage bill, thank Christ they're away. Like
your top 3 diddies, please.
John Lundstrom. I won't be surprised to see. John McLaughlin.
Gonna miss those guys.
Oh, I know, me too. And Borna Barisic. Thank you. Bye bye. Enjoy Turkey. Enjoy your new teeth.
Goodbye, Borna Bear.
Yeah. Nah, don't get me wrong. They had their moments and stuff, but for the most part, it's definitely time to move these players on and try and get some new blood in the team. I think that's what we need, a new fresh approach and players that aren't dragged down with the same failure year in, year out, So that would be my two Sunezes. My Sibo, well, it might be a Dessler soon, but to be fair to the guys, he's still there, still trying to contribute. It is like
Trying to contribute, mate. He was your top scorer last season.
Yeah, I know, but you haven't seen him in pre-season. But I decided not to go for Dessers. I ripped him, the poor guy, enough last season, so I thought I'll move on to something else until he pisses me off against
You've got
Hearts.
plenty of options.
Yeah, well, I think not being able to sign a few experienced players that we've been linked with or we've been trying to get them over the line, it just doesn't seem to be happening for the experienced players, and I don't know why. I don't know if that's the league, the project, or wages, or the fans. You've said it, Stephen. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's a bit annoying because you can see that the manager and Coppin are trying to identify the right type of players to move this team forward and to play the way that Clement wants to play. But it's very frustrating that we can't get that vital experience over the line. So hopefully it changes. I mean, I'm trying not to panic because obviously we've still got a few weeks left in the window, but it would be nice to have these boys in before Hearts or Champions League qualifiers, So
who's the captain, Scott? Is it going to be Butland?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Butland, and I think Suter's going to probably be vice captain.
Wow.
With a few others in like GDYMB probably in the leadership group, like these kind of players, and Sterling in the so. But it might be a fresh approach, Never know. Might be what's needed. So,
well, listen, your manager seems pretty strong-willed, so I imagine that'll help the younger boys. But
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, he's still here.
Well, this is the thing. I hope he is still here because we can't keep chopping and changing the manager every time. But this guy's got a proven track record of winning things, so he obviously knows what he's doing. He obviously knows how to win a league. It's just that we have to back him in the right way.
Is it fair to say that, like, from the outside looking in, it seems pretty desperate amongst Rangers fans at the moment? Like, it seems pretty doom and gloom. Are you of that opinion as well, or are you trying to? I mean, it has been a bit of a shambles.
Oh, it's a total shambles. There's absolutely there's a lot of decisions and stuff that have been made, and you're just like, what? It's a scratch in the head moment. Like, why? Do you mean like the communication aspect for the whole Hampden Ibrox debacle could have been made a lot earlier before, season tickets? There could have been a gesture of goodwill from the board to say, look, we know this is going to take a bit of time. Thanks for renewing your ticket. We'll give you, some sort of like gift back or something. Just to try and appease the fans. I'm not saying you're going to lose money, but
free face paint.
What would you have loved as a gift?
A free face paint tiger. I really want that tiger. Nah, I want 50% off it. I want 50%.
Face painting at Ibrox is free, apparently. So.
Yeah, I want the 50% off at the store. Nah, I just think something could have been done better communication. It is a bit of a disaster looking, and I think it's added. I think the reason it looks so bad, probably it's maybe not as bad as it looks, but I think the reason it's looks so bad is because the communication has been so poor.
What do you make of the reports? And there were quite strong reports and from credible sources that the fans are part of the reason why your leadership group actually want to leave the club, like Todd Cantwell's and Taverniers and.
Yeah,
imagine the Rangers leadership group WhatsApp.
Oh,
we're all leaving the chat.
No, but I don't know. The thing is, I can understand fans' frustration, right? I really can, and I do think at times it's maybe vented towards the players when it's an actual board. There's actual issues with the board. But I think as well, there's a question of mentality there. If you can't handle that pressure or that like anger directed at you for not performing on a weekly basis, then you shouldn't be at Rangers or Celtic or a top performing club. Do you mean? That's what makes these teams winners, or a word that you used a lot, elite in terms of mentality. And
there we go.
I'm just rehashing old things.
What do you mean by elite?
But no, I know. I just think like if you want to be a success here, and it's probably the same. And well, it will be the same at Celtic. You have to be strong-willed and strong-minded. If you can't handle some dafty like messaging you saying that you're shite or screaming at you at the fan, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with DMing players on Instagram or.
You've just got a podcast where you vent your views.
You've been deleting all your messages, Scott.
Correct, boys. Correct. I just think like if you can't handle that pressure, then you shouldn't be at the club. You shouldn't be at a club of this stature.
Nah, fair. Well, speaking of players of stature, two Di Canios, please, Pat.
Two Di Canios, two good things. The first one is good pre-season performances. It's obviously preferable to be winning games pre-season than losing them. Really nice not to be going through these European qualifiers yet again, because I think that was usually when pre-season mattered most to Celtic, because we knew you had a competitive game coming straight off the back of them. But, you go away and you play English Premier League opposition. Doesn't really matter what time of year it is, you're expecting to get pumped, especially when you play a team like Man City, irrespective of the players they've got on the pitch. So to come away scoring 8 goals and 2 wins, it's encouraging. It's really encouraging. So that's one of my Di Canios. The other is that I think the goalkeeping signings is really shrewd business. I was obviously on the record quite a lot being critical of Celtic signings last season, and that will surely happen again. But
next week,
probably, next episode. Well, actually, it's give me 30 seconds. But I think the goalkeeping signings are really. I think Kasper Schmeichel is a brilliant signing. I was really impressed with him in the Euros, particularly his distribution, how quick and accurate he was with his kicking, which is something that Joe Hart, Super Joe, didn't have. I'm really excited by the signing of Sinisalo as well. I saw him playing against Scotland for Finland at the warm-up game in Hampden before the Euros. He made an incredible save in the last minute, and apparently his hero growing up was Kasper Schmeichel. So for him to be his understudy for a year, possibly take the reins if Kasper decides to retire at the end of next season, I think it's really, really smart business, and I'm quite pleased with how quickly that's got done. My do-way is the lack of our outfield signings. I'm not panicking yet. I think there's probably a couple of deals that are in the works that they've just not announced yet. I think Paolo Bernardo's probably going to sign permanently, imminently, probably by the time this podcast comes out, or certainly before the next episode. But it would be really nice if we were, somewhere close to signing a left back. We can't go into the season with Greg Taylor being our only left back. We really do need a backup striker. If he does not come back and O has left, Mikey Johnson's starting games for us. The year is 2024.
Back up our first choice pack, because I don't think it's any secret that Brendan Rodgers probably isn't Kyogo's biggest fan. I think that Brendan Rodgers would be looking for a first choice striker, or
probably someone like Ida who gives you something different and can offers you a very different style of play. Ida came in, he was direct, he was physical. Kyogo's so clever, his movement's brilliant. But Adam Ida changed so many games when he came in last season. I don't think it's an understatement to say his contribution won us the league with loads of late goals, decisive penalties, goals against Rangers. Yeah. So I would love to have him come back in. But I think Kyogo is the one who'll start these games, but we do need another option, and that's not happened yet. So I'm not panicking yet. I'm not at shark levels of throwing things or kicking off in the way that I was kicking off last year. But when we come to episode 2 in a couple of weeks, if there's no signings done then, I think it will start to become, squeaky bum time with the signings and stuff. But a left back and a striker and the midfielder, please. Given that Matt O'Reilly's not left yet, I mean,
it's surely a matter of time.
Yeah, got to assume that he will. But
do you think it's more like they're just trying to get maybe signings lined up before they let him go?
Well, I think at the moment Atalanta are offering 14, 15 million, which is just nowhere close to the valuation. That would buy us Ida and maybe a Paolo Bernardo, and then that's and then we've got no money left to replace Matt O'Reilly with. So you need to Celtic. It needs to be a record-breaking fee. We all agreed on that last season. If Matt O'Reilly goes, he has to be the most expensive player ever.
But then he got left at the Euro squad, which no one's seen coming.
Yeah, and that probably devalued him a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think
not by much, but I think it's maybe taken a bit off.
I think it does. It does. It
makes a
just does from an outlook from an outsider's point looking in. It's easy. Obviously, we all watch Scottish football week in week out, but it does take a little bit off the shine off Matt O'Reilly's season getting left at that Euro squad.
Possibly, but I mean, he's
And
scored
he'll
goals.
probably want out even more than he did. So
Scored goals, made assists in the Champions League. Listen, if people are saying that he isn't worth that much because he's not going to the Euros, and I'm fine with that, and he'll stay with Celtic.
yeah.
Do you think though, seeing as obviously you've mentioned in past season where about like the board's inability to spend, do you think that the Bernardo signing is just a straight replacement for
that would
O'Reilly?
definitely represent penny pinching. It would be the ultimate sort of Celtic board move if you replaced Matt O'Reilly with someone who was already there last season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sort of bracing myself for that, to be honest. But let's see.
You spent a lot of last season saying that the problem with Celtic's squad actually wasn't the 1 to 11, obviously, were going out on the pitch, but it was a European campaign, obviously, that was let down quite significantly by squad depth. And we've actually had some listeners' questions right in, which we'll be reading out over the coming weeks. So please keep them coming. But we actually have one from Kenny. I'm sure everybody remembers Kenny, a guest episode.
Hello, Kenny.
Hello, Kenny.
Kenny has asked. What he actually originally asked was, does anybody think that Hearts can split the Old Firm? But
yes,
that's a ridiculous question. So
yes,
we've gone for the second one, which is who will go further in Europe this year. Now, obviously, that's going to be quite dependent on the signings that are made for the rest of the summer. If Rangers even get through these qualifiers. But Pat, I'm going to come to you first, and I'll ask who do you think is going to go further in Europe, expecting you to say Celtic, and then I'm going to actually ask for your realistic expectation of Celtic in Europe this year. Sorry.
It's both those questions are really hard to gauge this year because it's a new Champions League format that no one's ever seen before. No one really knows what to expect. I can't pretend that Celtic have been better than Rangers in Europe in recent years. Rangers have been by far and away the best Scottish team in Europe in recent years. And if they weren't going through all this turmoil at the moment, then I'd find it hard to argue against it. But Celtic and Rangers might be entering Europe in different competitions. There's a completely different format for the Champions League, and I'm not going to pretend to really know how it works or what to expect. I think if you look at the two squads, without any history bias, any recency bias, you'd have to say you'd back Celtic to go further, given what we've all just spoken about in terms of pre-season and how the two clubs have been performing. To answer your second question about what I expect from Celtic in Europe, just better, mate. Just please better. Like, I think there was some promising signs last year. Great performance against Atletico at home. We got our first Champions League win in a long time, but we just want more. I think we need to keep gradually improving. I think we got 1 or 2 points under Ange. We got 4 points last year. Let's see if we can get 5 or 6 points this year and see where it takes us. But yeah, usually I'd be quite intimidated by Rangers in Europe. But given you've got these qualifiers to navigate and things are a bit of a mess, Scotty, I don't know what you think.
Yeah. It's was not looking forward to answering this question because
the draw's been made, hasn't it?
Yeah, so we've either got in the third round qualifying, it's either going to be Dynamo Kiev or Partizan Belgrade, but Dynamo Kiev battered them 6-2.
Oofed.
So my concern is that given how loose we look defensively and how easy it is to split us open from watching pre-season, it's literally just a pass through the middle, it cuts out 6 players and it's a goal. And I don't know, obviously, if it's the players are kind of already fatigued going into the game as part of their plan to get them fitter, and that's why they're a bit maybe lack, the sharpness, but it is a concern. So, I want to kind of say that, yeah, we'll get through and, we'll get to the Champions League, but right now at this stage, it's not looking possible. It's just not looking possible. I think it will be a Europa League campaign. I think it'll be group stages, and we may get out of the group stages of the Europa League.
I'm gonna have to press you for an answer.
Yeah.
Celtic, innit?
Well, you guys are automatically qualified, so I think you might have a chance of getting out of the group, whereas I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm gonna go. How about that one?
Or bottom of a new group of 8.
Yeah, take your pick. It's going to be amazing to watch either way.
Can I just go back to what you said right at the start of Kenny's question, though? is
Sure.
current trajectory. I can see a cheeky Heart split in the Old Firm. Rangers not playing at Ibrox at the start of the season, things a wee bit of a mess. Don't think it would be Philip Clement's fault. I think there seems to be a lot of unrest.
It's not his fault at all, mate.
Watch this space. If Hearts get off to a better start this season than they did last season, who knows?
I'm happy to take forfeits that Hearts won't finish in between Rangers and Celtic. I just don't think they're
We'll
any
let Kenny decide.
realistically. Yeah, there we go. Right back in, Kenny.
I do think to answer that. Sorry, I do think they might push as close, but I still think it'll be.
That's a sad state, though, isn't it? When you're actually thinking like that, Scotty. Like,
no, but I just mean I think they'll push close to get. But I don't. I'm gonna sit here and say that they won't break the Old Firm. I think they'll push better than last season, but I definitely don't think they'll break the Old Firm. So there you go.
It's great to have you so excited about your team.
Yeah, I know. I'm buzzing, mate. Buzzing. I'm just trying to.
Actually, when we planned this, we were like, yeah, like you seem so enthusiastic, and I don't know what's happened to you in the last week. Just
asbestos in it.
Nah, I'm just trying to be realistic. That's all. I really want to be positive and stuff, but it's trying to be realistic. And
it seems to me that yours are maybe taking pre-season fixtures kind of to heart a little bit. I mean, do you realistically think we can read anything into pre-season fixtures? Like,
I think.
Well, you're hoping not, but seriously, do you think?
I don't think there's too much weight in terms of scorelines. I really don't think the scoreline matters. Like, you lose a game, you win a game.
You change teams at half time.
Yeah, it's more about fitness. But I think for me, what's concerned me about pre-season is just how open we've been in terms of conceding goals. You know, okay, the personnel's changed, and yet to be fair to Clement, it's literally been like an experimental squad. You know, we're trying players in different positions and trying to get. Obviously, we've got loads of want-away players as well. But I think there is a concern that we are pretty open defensively, and that would be my only concern from the pre-season, you know.
I don't think you can read too much into the results, but I think it's definitely, people monitor these results for a reason. You're sort of getting an insight into what the managers are trying out, which players are playing early doors, and you can't get ahead of yourselves. I know you made a joke about Celtic fans thinking we're going to win the Champions League, which is hilarious. But I think it's definitely possible you can have a dreadful pre-season. I think a shocking pre-season can definitely set you up for a poor season ahead. And I don't think Rangers have had a shocking pre-season results-wise. It's more all the off-the-field stuff that I'd be worried about. And fast forward 2 weeks, if we still not got an outfield signing, that leads to unrest.
Yeah,
despite you beating Man City with Mikey Johnson on the pitch.
I do think that's the thing is I think I'm reserving everything until the window closes to see exactly where the squad is, and then I can make maybe a bit more of an informed choice as to how well we're going to do. I think it's really early to tell right now when you still try to build your squad, especially in our case. It's like the manager's still trying to get rid of some players, and you've got like Todd Cantwell's wanting away, you've got James Tavernier. It's like, will he go, will he stay?
You definitely got to keep the windows closed at Ibrox at the moment.
Oh, there's no windows. They're all out.
The problem you've got as well is that if you're a player, you're not really. You don't know what European competition Rangers are going to play, and seems like who's going to be there. It just doesn't bode well for signing players. Moving on. So Patrick just touched on there that obviously I'm sure everybody who's got social media in the last few days will have just seen constant stories of Celtic fans sharing posts claiming that they would finish top 4 in England. Things. So trivia.
Oh, great.
Now, this week's trivia question is a straight one-on-one where I will ask the question. I'm then going to let Patrick give an answer first. There's 12 answers to this question, by the way. The first person who is unable to give a response after 30 seconds loses. Okay?
Wow.
So, the question, gentlemen, is, and you're allowed to name players in the opposition team as well, Celtic and Rangers players who have won the Champions League with other clubs.
Wow. Okay, starting with me.
Starting with you, Pat.
Okay, Paul Lambert.
1. Scotty.
Billy Gilmore. I don't know. I fucked it. There is. I'm saying Billy Gilmore was a Rangers player. He's on the books. Came through. You, Frank.
I'm not accepting that answer.
No.
You've got 10 seconds.
Brian Laudrup.
Yep.
Virgil van Dijk.
Yep.
This is hard. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst.
Yep. What's getting interesting now?
Am I allowed to name players from Rangers or?
Yes, mate.
So-
That was a good delay tactic as well. That's 10 seconds. Shambles if you don't know one of them.
Henrik Larsson.
Yep.
Paul Lambert.
He said Paul Lambert.
Right, that's
The-
2
oh,
lives he's done.
No, I didn't hear. I
That was
didn't
my
hear you.
first answer.
What was it? Sorry, the thing cut out.
That did it.
No, I did. It cut out. Oh, shit,
Taking the win.
No, I did cut out. I've got
Everything
one.
cut out for your Billy Gilmore answer.
Reno Gattuso.
Yep.
It's over. It's done.
It's not.
I'm
like,
giving him one more chance.
yeah, I
It's pre-season.
fucking, mate, I didn't actually genuinely did not hear you. I wouldn't have said it
Pre-season.
otherwise. I did not hear you. I did not hear you.
That's ratted me. What an absolute disgrace. Dado Purcell?
I unfortunately cannot accept Dado Perso as an answer. However, I'm pretty sure he was on the bench for Monaco when Real Madrid, when remember Zidane scored that goal at Hamden.
That was against Bayer Leverkusen.
Oh, yes, it was. What did you say, Norman, then? That's a good thing I'm not on the other side answering these questions. We are calling that, and on that note, we are calling that a score draw. Aye. Does anybody want to know the other players?
Dortmund.
Yeah. So we had Ronald and Frank de Boer,
Of course.
Stefan Klos, Perini,
Who did
Bally.
Kloss win it for?
Oh,
Dortmund, same year as Paul Lambert.
Was he a teammate of Lambert's, was he?
He was, yeah.
Didn't know that.
I don't know if he started, but listen, he's got a medal. Roy Keane
well done, man.
was another one as well, which I thought was quite a...
He didn't play in the final, though, did he?
Yeah, still got a medal though. So
Yep.
there we go, boys. So that's my that's my first question of the year.
Good question. You've set the bar high.
Thanks very much. Yeah. Now for our most exciting news of the podcast.
We are launching our very own Boy and the Bear Invitational SPFL Fantasy League. Absolutely buzzing. So if you want to take part in the Scottish fantasy football, it's great fun. It's good. We've done it in previous seasons, but we thought actually let's do it as part of the podcast this year. Just message us at where, Scotty?
The Boy and the Bear.
It's Boy Bear Pod on Instagram.
You sank about 5 feet into your chair there.
Yeah, so message us at Boy Bear Pod on Instagram and we will send you the password for the league. It'd be great to get a whole bunch of listeners joining in with the podcast. You can check on our teams. You can see if Scott selected any Celtic players or if I've picked any Rangers players. And see if the media actually knows what he's talking about. But yes, SPFL Fantasy, the Boy and the Bear Invitational League. Join in. It's going to be a good laugh.
I would like to just add a little caveat that I don't support Ross County, but it does make you pick which team you support. Just wanted to add that in there.
Excellent.
Yeah, that'll be good fun. Well, that is episode 1 of the second series of The Boy and the Bear. Lads, before we go into closing remarks, I just want to ask you one thing you're excited for this season. Short and brief, please. Scotty, you're up first.
Signing a striker that can score goals.
Sound. Paddy?
I'm excited for the new Champions League format. I think that might rekindle my interest in
Yeah, I think that's going to be brilliant, by the way. Yeah, I think that's actually going to be brilliant. It makes games far more interesting. Well, you've been listening to The Boy and the Bear. Email us your questions or complaints at theboyandthebear@gmail.com and share this pod with your mates on group chats. And please do follow us on social channels. We're set up on Instagram, Twitter, now known as X, at Boy Bear Pod, and also on YouTube at the Boy Bear Podcast.
Hail, hail.
Follow.
See you in a couple of weeks, boys.
It's nice to be back, lads. I'll see you soon.
See you later.
American.
See you later.